So in the last class, we have seen that mainframe is mainly working on two things. One is your commands, and then the next one is function keys, right? And we tried to know about two, three commands, at least the first thing, which is start command. So as soon as we open the start command, right, it will be opening the new tab, right? Similarly, equal to X is for closing the tab. And if you want to find something, we have used F space, the particular word, right? And then we have also seen what are the different function keys we are having. So F1 to F24 will be there, but 13 to 24 will be the repeated ones. So F1, which is used for help, we don't use it much. Then second thing, we are having F2, which is using for splitting the screen, right? So this also we don't use very much. Then coming to F3, so maybe I'll just recap things. So here, the way that we are going to connect, I have already shown you. So maybe the next class onwards, you'll be able to understand how to download and how to use all these things. So I'm connecting. And if you remember, what is the first command here I have to give to log in? What is the command?
Start.
No,
Log on.
log on first thing, right? And here, when you are entering the ID, right, it is not case sensitive. You can give it in caps or normal letters. If you're giving like this, or if you're giving like this, both are fine. So even the password also. So here I have, because there above one extra letter came, that's why. So here, now it is asking for password. Even while typing the password also, here it is not case sensitive. You can type in any case. Somebody has opened it. I'll just come back to it. Okay, this is our home screen. This is how it will be, right? So after this, the first command that we have learned is start. If I give start, you're saying here two tabs are open. If I'm giving one more start, you will see another tab is open. And also we are having how to close this. We'll be using equal to X. Equal to X for closing the tab, equal to X for closing the tab again. And also we have seen F3 is for going back, right? So suppose I'm going to some different options. Right now we don't have to understand. Let's say something I have given. Right now you don't have to understand what all these commands are. You will understand everything, okay? In today's class only. Don't worry. Let us say I have opened this. So if I have to go back, what is the function key I have to use here?
F3.
So again F3, again F3, again F3, right? This is how we are going back. And similarly, if you see F4 is actually idle right now. It will not be having, or initially when it is coming, it will not be having any function assigned to it. Okay. So later we can assign some function to this. And coming to F5, it is for finding the next item, right? Suppose here I'm having, again I'll go somewhere. Let's say, here we have tried to find where is exit, right? Find space exit. You can also fully type it as find exit or simply F. Both are fine. Usually we go with F. So see here it is showing. Now exit is here, right? If I give F5, you will be seeing that this line is getting changed. It is finding the next like this, right? And also F6 is again idle. And all, if I want to scroll it down, what is the key function key we have? If I want to scroll down, usually if I sorry,
F8.
F8, right? F8, 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 like if I want to scroll it up,
F9.
no, it is F7.
F7.
So F7, F7.
F7.
So So meaning at the same time, meaning at a time you want to go to the top directly. Okay, to the top you want to go. So there you can mean instead of pressing F7, F7, F7 multiple times, if you want to go to the top directly, here you can use one command called top.
Okay.
To go to the top of the screen. Okay. If I give top and enter, it will take me to top. Similarly, meaning not only top, you can also use M F7. That means maximum F7. Either top you can use or M F7 you can use. How to use M F7? You have to type M here, just one letter M, then give F7. That is M F7, maximum F7. Similarly, M F8, maximum F8. So it will come to the bottom. Or so top, or you can give BOTTOM, it will come to the bottom, but you don't have to give meaning type that much. So top is easy to type, right? But bottom we usually use MF8. Okay. Then we have F9. F9 is for swapping between the screens. If suppose I'm having another tab, start and so if I want to swap between these things, F9, 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 F9. So it is going to that screen and this screen. So it is swapping between these tabs. And F10, F11. F11 is for scrolling right and F10 is for scrolling left, right? Scrolling right and scrolling left. So if I want to, I'm giving F9. So if I want to go to the right, I have to use F11. F11, so see, it has shifted a little bit right. That means it is scrolling right. And if I give F10, it will shift to this side, right? That is left side. Similarly, F12 is for cancel. If you want to do, if I'm pressing F12, it will simply come out. Like it will cancel all the changes that I have made and it will come out. Okay. So these are the things we have learned so far. And also when we were discussing, right, to understand more about commands, we have to understand the concept of files. Because simply just by seeing the home screen or Ispf screen, we will not be able to understand many commands, right? So now we will try to learn about the files. We have two different files. One is VSAM file and non-VSAM files. Coming to VSAM files, we will learn them in a separate module or in a separate topic. But coming to the non-VSAM files, right? We have two different type of files are there. One is PS file and another one is PDS file. What are the files? We have PS and PDS. PS stands for physical sequential file and PDS stands for partition dataset. So in mainframe, coming to the mainframe language or mostly in different other technologies also, this file, right? The file only we call it as dataset also. If sometimes I'm saying file or sometimes I'm saying dataset, both are actually same. Okay. If I'm saying dataset or if I'm saying file, both are same. Don't get confused. So sometimes maybe in the flow I may say, okay, this file. Sometimes in the flow I may say, okay, this dataset. So dataset or file, both are actually same. If I'm saying file or if I'm saying dataset, so it is file only. Okay. And coming to PS file, what we had discussed, PS file is something like an independent file, right? Just like if I'm going to the desktop, if I open something like if I open any notepad, right? Let's say I opened this notepad. So simply you will be able to open and you will be able to write something inside it immediately, right? That means it is not inside any path or it is not inside any particular folder or something. It is just a direct file. You can double click and open and you are ready to write something. But we have another kind of files like, let us say I'm opening another folder. Here, I'm having two other files, two or PPTs. Maybe I will see another thing. Resume is we have somewhere. Okay. Yeah, let me open this one. See here, I'm having so many other files are there, right? So when we are having other files, these files we cannot directly open. Meaning the PDS is something like, one second, just one second. Okay, so this is something like your folder. Folder means inside a file you are having multiple other files. So you are not directly opening it, you will have to open that folder. Then inside that file you have to choose the next file. Then that you will have to open it, there you will be able to write. So PDS is something like that. PDS is the example of a folder, and PS is the example of a normal independent or direct file in this. So first we will try to learn, or we will try to understand how to create these files, right? Normally on a desktop, if you want to create something, simply you will right click here, right? You will give a right click, new, and you can choose anything, let us say text document. So here you'll be able to, this much easy to create a normal file on desktop. But when it comes to mainframe, we have to follow particular options, or separate path is there which you have to follow, so that a file can be created. Understanding? So let me go to this screen. So again, what is, I told you, right? If you are not using it, will disconnect. So log on, my ID, and then password. Okay, so I'm going to this one. Here, this is, so first tab I'll close. For now, we don't use it. So I'm coming to here and I'm giving equal to X on the command line and enter. It got closed. Okay. Now I have only one tab left here. Okay. So now to create any file, here you're having so many options, right? Usually we don't use all these options, but there are few frequently used. One of them is like view we will use, edit we may use, but utilities is the most important thing that we are having. Option 3, utilities is there. So utilities is the one, 99% mostly we will be using, or at least 95% we will be using utilities. So we have to understand about this thing first. So to create a file, right, to create a ps file, let's say, we will start with ps file. To create a PS file, the first option you will have to select is option 3. The first option is option 3. What is option 3 means here? Utilities. Okay. Utilities means it will have so many other things inside. So first you have to select or choose, you can say, option 3 and then enter. Option 3 and enter. So here again you are seeing some other options. So some different other screen has come. It is having 1 means library, 2 means dataset, 3 means something, 4 means something. So like this you are having so many other options are there, right? So here we have to choose the correct option to create the file. Okay. See here option 1, library. So what it is saying, compress or print a dataset, print indexing, something was there. And option 2, data set. It is allocate, rename, delete, catalog, uncatalog, something was there. Right? Then move copy. It is for moving or copying the members. Then you have DS list, print or display. Like this, you are having all the options are there. Right? Usually in technical language, when you are creating a file, we normally call it as allocate. Allocation means creating. So in the general language, we call it as create. But when it comes to this mainframe technical language, we call it as allocate. Right? Allocate means create. Okay. So where we have that allocate, so what option I have to choose here? Can you see in which option we are
Option
having it?
2.
Option
Option
2.
2, right? So option 2 and enter. So here I'm writing choose option 2 and then enter. So here another screen has come. So this option 2 is also having multiple things, right? A means allocate new data set. C means catalog. So you will understand what is catalog, what is uncatalog, all those things you will understand, don't worry. And R means rename. U means uncatalog. D means delete. S means short data information. And V means some other thing like visa utility, something was there. So now here, what we are doing actually, we are creating a file, right? So when you are creating a file, what that means, what you have to allocate, you are allocating the file. So what is the option I have to choose here now?
Yeah.
A. So now, till now, what we have done, immediately we have given option 3 and enter, option 2 and enter. Here, choose option A. Here we are not going to give enter immediately. We should not give enter. Now you have another thing to enter here. You have another information to provide here. So what is that information? Mainframe is asking, see, you're creating a file, right? I'm not like a desktop. So as soon as you're clicking, meaning you're right clicking and create a new dataset or new notepad or new word, it will create with some name like new text document. It has automatically created. But mainframe is not like that. You have to give the name to mainframe. You have to give, okay, see mainframe, I am going to create a file with this name. So you have to give a proper name, or you have to inform mainframe that, see, this is the file I am going to create before even creating. That means before the file is getting created, mainframe should know what is the name of the file. Otherwise, mainframe will not allow you to create that file. Understanding? So mainframe is that much very strict. Mainframe is like, no, no. If you're creating a file, means no, no, no. Simply you will not create a file. First tell me what is the name of the file. Then only I will allow you to create this file. Understanding? So, and that too, if you're simply giving some name, mainframe will not allow just the name, meaning you are giving as your wish. If you're giving any name, if you're thinking that mainframe will allow it, mainframe is not like that. Mainframe is having some standards, or this one we call it as naming convention. Mainframe is having some naming convention to follow. That means mainframe is actually having some rules for file name creation. So what are the rules that it is having? So let's say I'm giving a file name something like this, AAABBCCDD. Let's say I have given this name. Simply, I have given some random name to my file. So will mainframe accept it? Let's see. What are the rules? So when you are saying, see, I want to give this file, I want to create a file like this. Mainframe will say, see, simply if you're giving something, or if you're simply giving some name by your wish, I'll not allow. I have some rules. Then you are going, okay, I understood. Tell me, what are your rules? So now mainframe started saying the first rule it is having is name must be maximum of 44 characters only. File name should not exclude or should not exceed 44 characters. That means your name should not go beyond 44 characters. Maximum it can have is 44 characters only. That means you can have 5 characters, you can have 10 characters, you can have 20 characters, you can have 30, 40, 35, 40. So maximum is 44. The maximum length that you can have is 44 only. Then next thing, okay, first point I understood, I'll not give more than 44. Okay, what is next? So now mainframe is telling you another thing. It should be the combination of qualifiers. So what is a qualifier? You will understand. I'll tell you. It should be the combination of qualifiers. Each qualifier must be uh, separated by a dot. Each qualifier must be separated by dot, and also meaning I'll just combine these 3 points and then I'll be able to explain it, because just by this 1 point I cannot explain, or just by these 2 points I cannot explain. So I'll write these 3 points, then combinedly I'll explain you all these 3 points. And each qualifier should have maximum of 8 characters only. So now first point is very clear. 44 characters, we understood it is okay. And second point, you're saying it should be a combination of qualifiers. And third point, we are saying, yeah. And third, okay. And third point, you're saying each qualifier must be separated by dot. So when I'm saying, see, first point itself, we didn't understand it should be the combination of qualifiers. And now you're talking about the second point, each qualifier must be separated by what is qualifier first? And what is that it is getting separated by dot? And what is this each qualifier should have maximum of 8 characters only, right? What all these things. So what is qualified? First point, it is anyway, it is satisfying. It is not beyond 44. Let us say, if you count this, it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 24 only, it is fine. So it is first point, it is very clear. It is not going beyond the 44 characters. So here we understood, okay, it is satisfying the first point, but is it satisfying the second point? It should be the combination of qualifiers, and each qualifier must be separated by dot, and each qualifier should have maximum of 8 characters only. So what it is trying to tell you is, see, maximum 44 is fine, but it should not be the continuous 44 characters. There should be some dots in between. It should not be, it should not be like a continuous 44 characters or continuous 30, continuous 40. It should not be like that. There should be some dots in between your file name. So how the dots should be there? So each dot, meaning wherever we are keeping the dot, right? So each dot, we are seeing it as the separator, which is separating the qualifiers. That means, let us say I'm keeping one dot here, simply. Okay, just I have kept one dot here. So here it is, this is one qualifier and this is another qualifier. So we have two qualifiers in the file now. So let us say I have given one dot here. So how many qualifiers we are having now?
Three.
Three qualifiers, right? So each dot that we are having is that is separating the qualifiers. So each of this is one qualifier, this is another qualifier, this is another qualifier. We are having three qualifiers now. Let us say I am giving one more dot here, for example. Now how many qualifiers we are having?
Four.
Four qualifiers are. So at least second point is satisfying. It should be the combination of qualifiers. Okay, my file name is combination of qualifiers only. And also, third point also it is satisfying. Each qualifier must be separated by dot. Yes, this is one qualifier. After that, we have separator dot. Again, this is one qualifier. We have dot. Again, this is one qualifier. We have dot. Okay, now fine. For last qualifier, you don't have to put the dot. Okay. So, okay, this is also satisfying. But what is the fourth one? Each qualifier should have maximum of 8 characters only. So that means your qualifier should not be more than 8 characters. Your qualifier should not be more than 8 characters. So let's say, let's see the last qualifier. Is it satisfying the fourth point? Is it more than 8 characters?
No.
No, so it is fine. And this one, so it is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is this okay?
Okay.
This is also fine. And this one,
No.
2 characters.
Okay.
So this is also fine, right? It is less than 8 characters only. So if it is less than or equal to 8 characters, it is fine. Okay. And see the first qualifier. How many characters we are having? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is it okay?
Not okay.
It is not okay. That means
More
first
than 8 characters.
qualifier is not satisfying the fourth point. Right? So if let us say I am having some dot here. Now is it fine?
Yes, sir.
So all qualifiers are fine now, right? So this is how your file name should be looking like. Let's say I'm having another point now. A qualifier can have A to Z, 0 to 9, or the special characters like you will be having at the rate hash, dollar. So these things you will be able to have it in your file naming. You can use A to Z also. You can use 0 to 9 also, or you can use at the rate hash dollar also. You will be able to use it. Okay, and it is having that means. So that means like this I can use. Let's say A some 1, 2, 3, and let us say some at the rate CC 1, 2, something like this, or let's say D 1, 2 D. And here I'm having, let's say, I'll remove this one. Let's say 5. Let's say here 123 GH and something like at the rate I'm having like this. Here, let me give some hash. Okay. So now, is everything fine? If you see, this is, you can use A to Z or 0 to Z, any of this. So it is alphabet and number only. This is fine. This is also in the same list of special characters, like at the rate is fine, CC is fine, 1, 2 is also fine, no issues. Here, D, 1, 2, D hash, okay, these are also fine, no issues. This one, it is completely fine, 8 characters, letters and number, this is also fine. This is some numbers and alphabet and special characters, that this is also fine. But it is having another last point. A qualifier should not start with a number. A qualifier should not start with the number. So now let's try to see if it is satisfying these things. Is first one fine according to the sixth point?
Yes.
First one is
Okay.
having any
Sure.
issue? Sorry,
No.
no issue, right? Second one and third
Okay,
one,
fine. Okay, fine.
fourth,
Fine.
and the sixth one.
Not fine.
Not
This
fine.
is not
Fine.
fine, right? That means it is not satisfying the sixth point. Your qualifier is starting with the number. So it should not start with
Number.
the number. So this is incorrect. Last one is incorrect. So maybe if you want to give this 1, 2, 3 here and remove this, then it is fine. Okay. But you should not start a qualifier with the number. Clear now? And also, I'm going back to the first point. What is the first point? Your file name must be maximum of 44 characters only. So now the question is this 44 characters including dot or excluding the dot? Here the point is the 44 characters are including the dot only. That means you are counting this dot also. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So 35 characters including dot. Understood? It is including the dot. So it is not excluding. So dot also included in that count. 44 count. Dot is also included. Okay. So this is the naming convention we use basically. But normally when you're creating a file, right? When you're creating your own file, test file or so something, when you're creating something for your testing or your personal file, usually what are the things that we will follow in most of the 80 to 85% of the real-time companies, wherever you go in all the projects, right? So what is the process that we follow when you're creating a file is you all will be given with a mainframe ID. You will be having your own mainframe IDs in the company. So as soon as you go, you will be getting your mainframe ID. That is only for you. One ID will be given to you. That will be your personal ID only, just like your voter ID number, just like your also you will employee ID you will be having. Similarly, your mainframe ID is also unique to you. It will be only for you. So usually, so this very first one we call it as the first qualifier, or the same thing we call it as high level qualifier. Remaining all other things are the normal qualifiers. Only the first thing we call it as high level qualifier. Okay. So how the high level qualifier should look like is the first qualifier should be your mainframe ID for your testing. I'm saying when you're creating your personal files, the first qualifier should be your mainframe ID. If suppose it is MATSA, I'm using this. If your ID is let us say MATSB or your ID is MATSC or E, like so based on your ID, you will be using your mainframe. After that, you can give anything. But usually what we follow here in our training classes to create your files is we follow MATESA. After that, I will give the second qualifier as test. MATESA dot test. After that, you give your name. Suppose like your name is Ravi, something like this. You give hash Ravi or something. You don't have to give hash, but just for making the name to be, it should be the combination of all these things, right? Just for making that, I'm giving this. Okay. So third qualifier should be your name. Then last qualifier should be anything. Let us say we are creating a PS file. So let's say I'm giving PS file here. So usually what I will follow is like matsa dot test. After that, I will give the batch name. Let us say here we are having, let's say Jan 24, right? Hash Jan 24 dot psfile. So if I want to know all the files that got created by or for this particular uh, batch, so I can just go with this name matsa.test.hash20 hash jan24. If I search with this name, I'll be able to find out all the files that got created as part of this batch. Okay, so now I'm going to create a file with this name. Okay, now this is my file that I'm going to create. So I'm going to mainframe now again here. So since I have not used this mainframe for a long time, it might have got disconnected. Even if I give enter also, so it would be disconnected. This will not happen in the real time, but since we are using the training things, practice things, it will be disconnected every time. So if we are not using it or if we are leaving it idle for long time, so long means just 2 3 meaning 3 minutes also it will disconnect. So I have to click on disconnect and I have to click on connect again. Then again I have to come from the beginning, log on, my ID and my password. Okay. So now to create the file, what is the first option we have selected?
Utilities.
Three, right? Yeah, utilities. Then
Dataset.
data set, option two. Yeah. 3, 2, and here you give A and come to this place where you have name, right? So come to this place and you have to give the name in single quotes. Don't forget, you have to give the name in single quotes only. You should definitely use your single quotes. Otherwise, what will happen if you're not using single quotes? I'll tell you after some time. So, but you should definitely use the single quotes when you are creating a file. So your file name must be inside the single quotes. Okay, now I'm giving enter. Jan 24 is a duplicate file. Okay, we have created it, right? So let me just give me 1 second. Okay, so now I'm giving my file name here, and here I have to give a. What happened? Okay, so matsa dot test dot hash jan24 dot ps file, and now I'm giving enter. So now some other screen has come to me. I'm removing all these options to explain you what are we are going to do. Okay. So this screen, so these things we have to fill basically. So what are these options and what are the things that we are going to give? Usually the whole thing, right? The file creation process, it will take hardly 6 to 7 seconds or hardly 10 seconds. But to understand the process, we need this class. This 1 hour class is for understanding this file, how it is getting created and what are the different parameters we have. But normally, once you understood, to create a file, it will take 6 to 7 seconds or hardly below 10 seconds only it will take. Okay. So you don't have to understand all these things. So I'll tell you what are the required things that we have to give. The first parameter that we are having is space units. Sorry. First, yeah. The first parameter we are having is space units. So what does the space units mean? Normally, when you're creating a file on your desktop or something, if it is a notepad, so you will see something like it is 2 KB, 3 KB, 10 KB, 20 KB, or if you're having some photo, it will be like, okay, 3 MB, 10 MB, 15 MB, or you're having some video, it is like 1 GB, 2 GB, like this. You will be seeing KBs, bytes, like MBs, GBs, you'll be seeing, right? So how it will be created, like based on the data that you are entering inside those files, it will occupy that much space, 1 KB, 10 KB, 15 KB, 20 KB, like that. Here, when you are creating a file, you have to inform to mainframe earlier, meaning prior. That means before creating the file itself, you have to inform to mainframe that what units you are using. Units means, see here you are having, see right side, blocks, tracks, cylinders, KB, MB, bytes, or records like this, right? Yeah. So you see, so we are having different uh, parameters or space units are there, right? So here we don't even use KB or MB also, because mainframe can store, as we discussed, mainframe can store huge data with very less occupancy. So if you consider here blocks, if you see here MB, right? KBs are smaller than MB, and the cylinder is smaller than KB. Tracks is smaller than cylinder. Blocks is smaller than blocks is the smallest unit. After that you have tracks. After that you have cylinders. After that you have KB. After that you have MB. These things, right? So you will not even go till this KB point also. We will mostly 99% we use cylinders and tracks only, right? These are enough for storing huge amount of data. We don't use even KB or MB also. We go for cylinders. Mostly, if you're creating a new file, we go for cylinders. Most we use tracks also, but if your file is very small, or if your file don't need much information, or if you're deleting a file, then that case we see about tracks. But now mostly 99% we go with the cylinders. So cylinders is one of the space unit, just like your KB, MB, GB you're having. Similarly, you have cylinders also. So here I am selecting the space unit cylinder, CYLS. So whatever you're having here, you have to type it here. You can also type the full name like cylinder, but you don't have to. Just give CYLS, cylinders. Okay. Now, the second parameter that we are learning is primary quantity. Okay, so what does this primary quantity means? Primary quantity means, let us say I am opening a notepad. For example, usually since I have maximized, it is like usually when you open a notepad, uh, so it will be opening like this, right? With this much of space it will be opening like this. It will open normally when you're opening, right? So it is actually giving you some space, some limited 1 2 3 4, some hardly some 10 lines of space only it is giving, right? Let us say now here I'm typing something. So this much of space it has given to me. Now, if I am typing, so then only it will expand, right? Otherwise, it will open with the minimum space only. Some little bit of space initially it will give you, and it will open with this much of space only. But when you're typing so much of other data, then only it will keep on expanding, right? But initially it will open with very less space. The initial space only it will use. So the primary quantity means it is the initial space, initial storage or initial memory that we are giving for the file to create. That means when you're creating, when the file is getting created, okay, this is the first space, or this is the initial space that we are giving that file, right? So, and this space will be, see, if you see here, it will be in the, sorry, it will be in the in above units. That means if suppose here I am giving, let us say 10. So this primary quantity and secondary quantity are the numbers. Okay. So what this number is saying, if I am giving 10 here, that means it is in above units. 10 means 10 cylinders. So when you're creating a file, initially it will be created with 10 cylinders. Let's say I'm giving some, we don't need, let's say I'm giving 2 or 5. Okay. So first it will be created with 5 cylinders. So let's say you are typing the data, you are entering the data, you're giving so much in that file. All that 5 cylinders are completely used, completely occupied, or completely consumed. Okay. Once all the 5 cylinders are over, then this file will go to mainframe and it will ask, see, when you are creating me, you have given me 5 cylinders as the initial space. Now it is completely over. What I have to do? So then mainframe will tell to this file that, okay, your primary quantity is over, right? Now I have another thing called secondary quantity. So go to secondary quantity and ask that. So what is your second? So you go to the secondary quantity and ask, see, my primary quantity is over, and mainframe told me that you are having some secondary quantity also. Can you give me? Let's say here I am giving again, let's say some 3 I have given. for example. Okay, so that means what will happen once all this, so here, if you come here to the notepad, now it is over, right? The initial space that notepad has given to me is over. But if I'm giving enter and typing, now it is expanding, right? Now only it is expanding actually. Earlier, when I have opened, did it give me this much space or only less space it has given? It started with less space only, right? When we are writing only, it started expanding, correct? But initially, this is not having this much of space, correct? When we are typing, then only it is basically expanding that space. So now, if you're typing one more line, it will give you next line. It will give you next line. It will give you next line like that, right? So that is the notepad that initially opened is the primary quantity. And when you are typing, keep on typing, it is giving you the new space, right? That is your secondary quantity. Okay. Now, what is the secondary quantity means? So let's say this 5 cylinders are over. Now you came to the secondary quantity and you are asking, let's say, do you have any space? My primary quantity is over. Then it will tell you, okay, I have 3 cylinders. This is also again in above units. Okay, I have 3 cylinders. You can go and use it. So now, okay, you have gone, you have used the 3 cylinders also. So what you came back to the second, say you have given me 3 cylinders, that also over. So what secondary quantity will tell you, okay, no problem. You go and use another 3 cylinders I am giving you. Again, you have gone and used. Again, it is over. Again, you came back here. You go and use another 3 cylinders. So like this, secondary quantity will give you up to 15 times. That means this primary quantity will be allocated only one time. This primary quantity that you are having, right? This will be allocated only one time. But the secondary quantity will be allocated up to 15 times. That means this is 5 cylinders. It is over. Now you are coming to the secondary quantity and asking. So it has given you 3 cylinders. It will not give you everything in one shot. Okay. It has given you 3 cylinders. Okay, that is also over. Again, it will give you 3 cylinders. That is also over. Again, it will give like this, it will give you up to 15 times it will give you. That means total how much space we are giving to this file. So 15 3 is 45 plus 5. Total 50 cylinders you are giving for this file, but you are not giving in just one shot. First you are giving 5, then you are keep on giving 3 3 3 3 like let us say second time when you are using it, so after using 3 cylinders it is okay, it is enough for you, you don't need another 3 cylinder. Then it will not simply allocate the extra space because okay 5 and 3 8 cylinders are, so 8 cylinders are enough, right? So simply it will not waste the space. That is why just first you go and use these 3 cylinders, then only I will give you another 3 cylinder. Don't ask me in between. First you go and use this. Usually you'll give to kids, right? You'll give one pencil. First you fully use that pencil, or let's say you're giving some biscuits. First you finish that full biscuit, then only I'll give you the next one. I don't simply give you 3 4 bits of biscuits at the same time, right? This is also the same case. So first you go and finish the 3 cylinders, then only I will give you the remaining, or I will give you extra cylinders. So if you're using 3 cylinders, again 3 cylinders, again 3 cylinders, it will keep on giving you up to 15 times, but it will not give you in one shot. Okay, once it might be disconnected. If you are not using enter key or any function key for more than 2 3 minutes, it will be disconnected. So here we have given cylinders. Here I have given 5 units. Here I have given 3 units. Okay, that is 5 cylinders and 3 cylinders. Next thing is your directory blocks. What is the meaning of directory blocks? So what this directory blocks will be doing is directory blocks will be storing, it is responsible for storing the information of the files inside the folder. So right now I'm saying it as the folder, it is actually PDS, but directory blocks will be taking care of, okay, how many files are there inside the folder, each file is occupying how many bytes, like, let's say if you see here, see directory block, all these files are there, right? It will be taking, okay, first file 19 kb, second file this much, third file this much. Okay, these many files are having, each file is having this much space like this. Who is taking care of this responsibility? It is directory blocks. Okay, It is directory blocks. But here, are we creating the normal file or a folder? So we are creating a PS file or PDS file?
PS5.
PS file. PS file means what we have discussed. PS file is a direct file or independent file. It is not inside any folder, right? Or it is not a folder also. So when it is not even a folder, there is no need of directory blocks, right? You have nothing to take care here because I myself itself is an independent file. I am not a folder here. So you do not have any duty here to take care. So when you are creating a PS file, you don't need directory blocks. So for a PS file, your directory blocks will be always zero. See, if you see here, zero for sequential data. So that means we are calling PS as the physical sequential, right? Right. So it is here, it is already giving you the information. It is zero for sequential data set. Okay. And similarly, so remember when if you're creating a PDS or if you're creating a PS file, the options are same. You will be following the same path, option 3, option 2, then A, then file name. You will come to the screen. But how mainframe will understand that you are creating a PDS or a PS is based on directory blocks. This is one of the most important parameter. Based on directory blocks, your mainframe will be able to understand, okay, this guy directory block 0, that means he is creating the PS file. Directory block is non-zero, that means it is PDS. We will see in the PDS. Okay. Now you remember the point, for a PS file, it is always 0. Okay. Next thing is record format. Record format, you will be having two things. One is FB or VB on high level. FB means fixed block and VB means variable block. So I'll tell you what it means. I'll tell you about record length. Then I'll come to this point. What then the next point is record length. Let us say I'm giving record length as 80. So what is this record length means? Now let us say here, okay, here let's say I'm typing something like this. I'm typing, okay, something I'm typing like this. Okay. So what does the record length means? Mainframe is basically telling you, or it is giving you the possibility to enter maximum 80 characters. That means whatever the number that you are giving, let us say here if I am giving 100, that means for one line, you can enter only 100 characters per line. That means if you keep on typing, after 100, it will not allow you. So you have to write maximum 100 characters only. Let's say here I am giving 80 now. That means you can enter only 80 characters per line. So if you want to enter 80 or if you don't want to enter it, that is up to you. But maximum is 80 you can enter. That is record length means. Record length means the number of characters that you can enter in one line or per line. So if you're entering just 30 characters, it is okay. If you're entering just 10 characters only, it is okay. If you're entering 69 characters, it is okay. If you're entering 50 characters, it is okay. If you are entering 80 characters also, it is okay. But if you try to enter the 81st character, it will not allow you. You have to write it in the second line only. That is what your record length means. But coming to this record format, what does this record format means? Usually, this record format means, suppose let's talk it generally. So let us say you're having in the first line, let us say you are having 50 characters. In second line, you are having 40 characters. In third line, you are having some 15 characters. In fourth line, you are having some 35 characters. And fifth line, you are having some 20 or 25 characters. So what is fixed block? FB means fixed block file. So what is FB file it is saying is, see, I don't care about the number of characters that you are entering in one line. So it can be 10, it can be 20, it can be 30, it can be 40, or it can be 80. I am going to occupy 80 bytes only. For if you are giving one character also, I will occupy 80 bytes. If you are giving, meaning generally I'm saying about this bytes. So okay, if you're giving one character also, I will occupy 80 bytes. Here, let's say you have given one only. And if I have given all 80 here, let's say. So if you are entering one character also, I will occupy 80 bytes. Or if you are entering full 80 characters also, I will occupy 80 bytes. I have given the facility to enter 80 characters, but you are not using it. If you are using one character or if you are using 80 characters, I will be going to occupy 80 bytes only. But when it comes to VB, that is variable block, right? When it comes to VB, what it will do, based on the number of characters only it will occupy. Let us say if your first line is having 50 characters, so it will occupy only 50 bytes here. So it will occupy only 50 bytes here. If your second line is having, let us say, some 35 characters, so it will occupy only 35 bytes here. Let us say here this line is there. It is having only one character, so it will occupy only 1 byte here. Right? Here space, it will occupy based on the number of characters that you are giving in that line. Understand? But still, 85%, 80 to 85%, we use FB only. Because you may ask, right, if, when there is a space wastage also, why we are using FB? Because FB is very faster compared to VB files, because VB files, it has to calculate each line. Okay, how many characters in your line? Okay, 5. How many characters in your line? Okay, 15. How many characters in your line? So first it has to calculate all the number of characters in each line, then it has to calculate the storage, then it will go. But FB is not like that, right? I don't care if you're giving one characters or 10 characters or 80 characters. I will occupy 80 bytes. So I don't need any calculation. I don't need any pre-processing prior to processing of the file or prior to using this file. So it will be very faster when compared to VB. That's why we use FB files only. And coming to the block size, what is so just I will take 10 more minutes, okay, 5 to 10 minutes only. So coming to the block size, what is this block size will be doing it? Block size will be actually taking care of the number of lines, how many characters, or it will be taking care of the lines information inside your file. So let us say your file is having 10,000 lines or 1 lakh lines or 10 lakh lines. How many? Usually each line we call it, in technical language we call it as record. Okay, when I'm saying line, so normal in the normal language we call it, in the mainframe language we call it as record. So how many records we are having now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 records are there in this file. So each line we call it as record. So it will be taking care of the information of that records. How many records are there? So this kind of things it will be taking care. But how to give, what we usually give the block size? Block size should be officially, that means what mainframe is suggesting is block size should be the multiples of your record length. That means if you're giving record length is 80, so that means you can give the block size as 80, or you can give the block size as 160 or 240. That means 80 table, right? 81s, 82s, 83s, 84s, like that. You can give 320, you can give 400, you can give 480, you can give, what is next? 540, yeah? 560, like this. You can give anything. But for making it very easy, for making our things very easy, what usually we give is, we will be giving the 10 multiples. That means if it is 80, we give 800. If it is 50, we give 500. If it is 100, we give 1000. If it is 120, we will give 1200. Like simply that number into 10 we will do, and we will use that number. Since I have given 80 here, I am going with 800. Okay. The last one that we have to understand here is data set name type. So what is the data set name type that we say? So here, when we have discussed about the block size, sorry, directory block, right? We have given 0. This is one of the important parameter which tells mainframe that what file we are going to create, whether PS file or a PDS file. Okay, because of that 0, now mainframe understood, okay, you are going to create a PS file. Similarly, there is another parameter, that is dataset name type. These two are the important ones which is telling mainframe that we are going to create a PS or PDS file. So for a PS file, always dataset name type should be blank. You should not give anything. It should be spaces. For PDS, it will be PDS, but we will see that later. But now you understand, for uh, PS file, your dataset name type should be always blank. Then mainframe will understand, okay, it is your PS file that you are creating. Okay, so now these are the parameters we are going to give. Let's try to create now. Since I did not use enter or function key till now, might have disconnected. So now you tell me.
log on.
Okay. So what is the option now? First option,
3,
then
2,
two. A,
A,
this one. Enter. So here I'm giving CYLS. So here I'm giving some 5, again some let's say 5. Here, what should be the directory blocks?
0.
0.
0,
Record format FB. Record length I've given 80. Block size
800,
800. And your dataset name type should be blank.
blank,
Now I'm giving enter. So if you see on the top right corner, what it is saying,
data set allocated.
data set allocated. That means your file has been created. Understood? Your file has been created now. So let's see, I'm going back, F3, F3. So how to see if my file, just I'll take 2 to 3 minutes only. So how to see if my file is already created or not? If the file is
File name,
created, where I can see, right?
file
Where I
name,
can see that file is created, right? So
F5,
now, sorry,
F5, sir.
yeah, I'll tell you. No, no. So now to see the file again, whether the file is created or not, where I can see the file is, again, it will be option 3. Then here you're seeing like option 4, DS list, which means data set list, which is used for print or display. So here you have to choose the option 4. For creating the file, what was the option we have chosen here? While creating,
2,
what is the option we have chosen?
2,
2. So 2 is for creating. 4 is for viewing or seeing it. So I'm giving enter. So I'll just remove everything here. So here you're seeing right DS name level. Here you have to give your file name matsa.test.hashjan24.ps file. And if I give enter, see it is showing my file. That means my file got created. So you may think whatever the name you are giving, it might be showing, right? So it is not like that. Let us say I'm going back. Let us say I have given ps file, let's say some name I am giving, ps file z I have given. Do we have this file? Did we create this file ps file z? Did I create?
no, no,
No,
sir.
no. If I give enter, see what it is saying.
No data set names
No
found.
data set names found. That means if the file is already created only, it will show you. So this PS file is there. So if I give enter, it is showing me. That means my file is created. If I'm giving any other file, let us say PS XYZ, something like this I'm giving. Do we have this file?
No, sir.
No. If I give enter, it will say no data set name. So if your file is there only, it will show you. So to create the file, your option is 3 and 2. To see the file, your option is 3 and 4. So when you are seeing, you don't have to give the file in single quotes. Only while creating, you have to give your file name in the single quotes. So in the tomorrow class, we will understand how to open this file. Let's just now we are seeing, okay, my file is there. Only that much we are seeing. So now tomorrow we will see how to open this file, how to write the data into this file, how we can write all the information, how to save it, how to use it, all those things we'll be seeing it in the tomorrow's class. Okay. So any questions, any doubts? Okay then. So with this, our demos are completed. So yeah, we'll connect tomorrow. I hope no questions, right, from anyone? Okay, thank you everyone. With this, all our free classes are done. So we'll be connecting at the same time tomorrow. Okay. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.